Welcome to Therapy Thursday with Donna, and a Happy New Year. It's all about the New Year's resolutions at the moment, isn't it? And I'd like to talk to you about that today and what lies at the heart of New Year's resolutions, which can often be that feeling of not being good enough, not being quite thin enough, not being quite rich enough, that feeling of not feeling good enough. This causes us to strive to be better, to strive to be more, to strive to be good enough. But how do we know when we've actually reached that mythical feeling of good enough? Do we ever know when we've reached that? And I think that's one of the difficult things about New Year's resolutions, is that we're often seeking to feel good enough with all these changes that we're making. And actually, that causes us to feel like our worth is caught up in these things that we're trying to change. And if we only go to the gym enough, then we're going to feel good enough. We never really stop to think about, what does it actually mean? What does it actually feel like to be good enough, to feel good enough? When am I going to actually tell myself that I am enough? And I don't think we really do that. We try to make all these changes and we have all these good intentions, which is fantastic. But actually, when are we ever telling ourselves that we are okay, we are enough? If you do, that's fantastic. Because when you're coming from a place of feeling like you are enough, you'll have a different motivation when you're going out and doing these things. Because your worth is not caught up in whether or not you do a certain number of sets at the gym or not. But if you're finding that you're constantly striving to be perfect, to be good enough, and never actually reaching that state of good enough, then I'd like to ask you today to try something, which is to say to yourself, I am enough. Just as I am right now, I am enough. I'd like you to try that, to say I am enough. Just as I am right now, I am enough. And you can still go out and make all those changes and try those resolutions. But your worth does not have to be tied up in them. So that if you don't get to the gym today, that doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means you didn't get to the gym today. But if you're feeling like your worth is tied up in those things and you don't go to the gym today, and then you feel not good enough as a result, that has an impact on how you feel. If you don't feel good enough, you don't feel worthy, then those negative feelings can easily spiral. They will kill your motivation to go to the gym, and then that will compound those feelings of not being good enough, and you're right back where you started, striving for more, striving to be good enough, and never quite feeling like you come up to the mark. So I'd like to say, the message from me to you today is to say, I am enough just as I am. Try that. Try that a few times. It might feel a bit awkward, might feel a bit uncomfortable if you're not used to saying that. But I'd like to ask you to try and still do all those things that you want to do as part of your New Year's resolutions if you want to. But if you don't do them, it does not mean that you're not good enough. Try that. Have a good rest of today. Be kind to yourself. And I'll see you next week. Bye for now.